That's devotion.
That is.
Is there a website that we should be on or anything like that?
No. So if you pre-registered for the discussion, then you would have received the materials ahead of time. Primarily, what we're going to focus on is the recognition and how to get to recognition.
I didn't get anything.
Oh, you didn't? Okay.
No, ma'am.
So who's speaking?
This is Darlene Carney from Conroe.
Okay.
It should be in your you should have got an email, Darlene.
I didn't get an email. I didn't get anything.
Okay.
I didn't get anything either.
No? Okay. If you send... Larissa, are you on?
Yes, I'm on. It depends on when they registered, when they got the email. So if you registered a little late, you probably didn't receive it. So if you can email me, email me at larissa.deluna@heart, I can forward you that.
Okay. Can you say that again? What?
Larissa, LARISSA.
LARRISSA?
1 R.
Oh,
Darlene, Darlene, this is Sybil.
Yeah.
I just forwarded it to you.
Oh, okay, thanks.
Okay.
And there was somebody else on the line that didn't receive the information. Oh, okay. I thought there was more than one of you, but so we'll be focusing on recognition. The only thing that you might want to have in front of you is the recognition criteria. Other than that, it's just open forum time. So before we get started talking about the specifics of recognition, is there anything that anyone wants to talk about in particular on today's call? Any burning questions?
I have a question. Has there been any indication of how soon they think that the CAD tool may be expanded or I guess maybe deviating from Actions tool?
So I think what you're referring to is the addition of all of the chest pain center accreditation fields or data elements that you would need for version 6 or cycle 6 chest pain center accreditation. Is that what you're referring to?
Well, actually, I know that with our chest pain center accreditation, we're going through the ACC accreditations, and they're able to pull all that information except like your low-risk population and all that. But I'm just wondering which elements may become further developed in the CAD tool that is not currently captured in Action. Meaning, for example, like your risk for sudden cardiac death, your low-risk chest pain, your hypothermia protocols. Is there any other kinds of questions that are going to be added to the tool to deviate further from Action, to make it its own separate, more distinguished type registry as opposed to just basically copying a lot of the Action elements?
Yeah, so the build out, we're anticipating it is scheduled for February, March, the addition of low-risk elements and your chest pain elements. Now you can enter a lot of that into the tool, but we're going to have all of those elements that are currently like an ACD tool if you're participating in that, so that you have everything in one place. You'll have all of your NSTEMI, your non-STEMI, and your and all the things that you need for your chest pain center accreditation in the Get With the Guidelines CAD tool. So what we're hoping to do is to make it easier for hospitals to just house everything in one place and not have to have everything in multiple locations. And we do have in our contract with the ACC that Get With the Guideline coronary artery disease data is accepted for the chest pain center accreditation. So our IT team is working with ACC staff to make sure that we have all of the data elements that are needed for version 6. So I think your question is as well, like, when is that going to happen? The schedule is for February, March timeline, and that's if everything goes as planned.
Okay, and will we begin to get snippets or updates to see it before it rolls out likely, or do you think we'll just discover it within there?
No, I think we'll have an opportunity to take a look at the elements that are in there. We've already been provided with just kind of a pre-look. We're not able to share that out yet, but I know that, if they're working on the build-out, they'll provide information so that we can give our partners a heads up, so you can see what you're going to need to start collecting before it actually goes live.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
This may be a little bit off subject a little bit, but yesterday is when I submitted our application at Kingwood for the AHA CAD, and I didn't have the actual number of hospital beds. I put 368, and we're actually 373. Is there a way that I can correct that, or does that really matter?
I think you're close enough. You're only 5 patients off, so that you're close enough with the number that you provided.
Okay.
Thanks for submitting that. You hit you got it in under the under the wire. If there's anyone else on the line who submitted their enrollment or missed the deadline and plan to within the next 2 weeks. Did I hear somebody say yes, you're in that situation too?
No, I submitted mine yesterday.
Okay.
This is Conroe.
Conroe, okay. So I'm just going to send a note over to make sure that our leadership has a heads up so that so Kingwood and Conroe. So you guys, just for those hospitals that are kind of close to the deadline, we want to make sure that you will receive that the discount for next year. So I'll send a note. And
my
make sure
hospital hasn't made a decision yet. If they make it like in the next week, would we still be eligible for the discount or not?
If it's underway, like if you're in discussion, with your administration and they're working, if we can say that you're working on the enrollment form, I'll submit your hospital name as well, so that if it comes through by the 15th, that you would still be eligible. Which hospital?
Texas Health Arlington Memorial.
Okay. All right.
There's a discussion going on between corporate and the individual hospitals on who's going to do what. That takes an act of Congress, right?
Yes, it does.
Yes.
See, everyone goes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll add you to the list. Very good. Any other enrollment questions or module questions? Okay. We in the future hope to highlight some best practices on the call. So if you're a facility who has been recognized in the past, if you want to, just kind of highlight how you met a specific measure, we want to be able for you to be able to share that information and for us to all learn from one another. So let us know if that's something that you'd be interested in doing on this call. Moving forward, we hope to have somebody kind of talk about how they took one of those hard recognition measures and was able to meet it at their facility and kind of the steps that they took to be able to make that happen. So just keep that in mind. Before we get into the recognition criteria, I did want to mention that scientific session is in 2 weeks, and we are still accepting RSVPs. If you were recognized in 2017 for Mission Lifeline and you want to attend sessions and you want to go to the awards ceremony, please let us know so that we can get you on the list. It's in Anaheim, California, and we have a really, really lovely recognition event for our hospitals. It's complimentary. If you can get out there for it, it's just a really fun evening where we can just celebrate your quality work with you. So keep that in mind for next year as well. We do it every year. And so let's...
you said it's in Anaheim. What date?
It is. The recognition ceremony is on the 14th. It's on Monday evening.
January?
13th. No, November.
Oh, November, sorry.
Yeah, this month. So it's in only, what is that, like 10 days or 11 days or so. But we do that every year for our hospitals that are recognized, and it's just a really nice opportunity for you to celebrate your achievement. If you're still able to go, even though it's late notice, let us know, and we'll work to get you on the list for the ceremony. This year is the first year that they're doing a nursing track as well, so I'm excited about that. Okay, let's hop into recognition. So it sounds like everybody on the line is a receiving facility. Is that right? Do we have any STEMI referring hospitals?
Well, my circumstances are a little different. I have the Heart and Vascular Hospital is actually inside my hospital.
Okay.
So they actually come into my ER, but they're transferred to the Heart and Vascular Hospital.
Mm-hmm.
So even though it's in the same building, I would not be considered a receiving facility. It's crazy.
No, we have a number of facilities that are in that exact same situation. So for you, your recognition criteria would be different, and we want to make sure that we're evaluating your performance on referring center metrics. So I just want to make sure we'll touch on that then as well, the referring center metrics. So for those of you, I think you all have been involved with Mission Lifeline in the past. Is there anyone who has not been involved with Mission Lifeline? Okay. So you know how it works. We, at American Heart Association, we have all the guidelines and the science, and we are very kind of laser focused on helping hospitals implement the guidelines in their facilities. And we pull out some of the most, like the very essential guidelines-based practices, and those are our recognition criteria. And we help hospitals focus on them. The reports that we provide out to you every quarter have pulled your recognition criteria out into that report so you can see how you're performing. And this is where if you have the documents in front of you, you'll want to pull up the document that's labeled 2018 Mission Lifeline Recognition Receiving Criteria. We'll go over the referring criteria next. But the receiving criteria, we have two different awards programs, a STEMI awards program and an NSTEMI recognition program. You can, and I have several hospitals this year who got NSTEMI recognition without getting STEMI recognition. You can get one without the other, or you can get both. So let's go over the STEMI recognition measures first. The percentage of STEMI patients with door-to-device time. So that's your just basic door-to-balloon in less than 90 minutes for your non-transfer patients. And then the really difficult one is the EMS, first medical contact to balloon within 90 minutes. So it's a little bit confusing that, people ask, well, why would both of those be 90 minutes? Like, why wouldn't door-to-balloon be 60 or something? And, we've heard that rumor for many years that door-to-balloon is going to be shortened from 90 minutes. It just has never happened. So that one remains at 90 minutes because it remains that way in the guidelines. But we do set that goal of EMS from the time that they're eye to eye with that patient to balloon to all happen within 90 minutes. And the hope is there that if EMS is giving you a heads up, that they're on their way, that it can help shorten your door to balloon time. And I would say that it's very, very difficult to meet that measure unless you're activating your team based on the field call from EMS. And then we do have this year something that we're going to be looking at and we're going to be adding to the tool is that actual transfer time, or not transfer time, but the time that from the time that the EMS picks that patient up and gets them to your facility, if that drive time is prolonged greater than 45 minutes, and you're able to get the patient from your door to balloon within 30 minutes or less, that would be something that would be provide an allowance or an exclusion for you.
Okay, so you're saying that they'll be using that as an exclusion now?
Yes.
Oh.
So we are. So one of the things about Mission Lifeline, the platform changing, is that we can be very nimble with the types of things that we're able to add and things that we're able to manipulate within the tool. And so this is something that we've really wanted for a long time, and that's where, and we have, I think everyone who's on is from Texas. And that, sometimes those rural patients, they're coming in from EMS that they're several counties away.
Mm-hmm.
Air may not be an option, for whatever reason. Either they're not available or it's a favor, they just can't fly, which we have. And so, if ground transportation is extended, if that time is extended, but you're still gathering your team, so you get that heads up, you're gathering your team so that you can get that patient from door to balloon within 30 minutes. Those patients, will no longer fall out of the first medical contact to device measure. So, we feel like that's a fair exclusion for those patients that are coming from a long way away. But we do have that caveat that then you've got to have them, balloon up within 30 minutes.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, that's new this year.
That's great.
I know. We're excited about it. Okay. The next one is aspirin within 24 hours of arrival. If the EMS is giving you aspirin, you can, that's something that you can take into consideration, and that patient will fall into the measure. You want them to have aspirin at discharge as well. Beta blocker at discharge, and there should have been another on mine. There's not a line in between these two, but maybe there is on yours. Might just be the format of mine. The percentage of STEMI patients that have a high LDL greater than 100 that receive a statin or lipid-lowering medications, that they go home on those. And then we've got patients with LV systolic dysfunction that are on ACE and ARB at discharge, and percentage of STEMI patients that smoke that get smoking cessation counseling. And then we have a plus measure. So it's not going to keep you from recognition if you don't meet it, but you get kind of like a gold star or an added plus recognition if you meet it, and that's for your transfer patients. And it's for everything happening within 120 minutes. So the clock starts at the outlying hospital door and then stops when the balloon is up at your facility.
Can I ask one question?
Sure.
Since you're American Heart and American Stroke, why is it that the LDL for stroke is they need it on lipid therapy or or a statin at discharge for their LDL being greater than 70, but for the heart it's still 100? Why is there a difference still?
Yeah, so it is completely guidelines based. So it's what the science writers have written into the guidelines. And so, it's just based on the different studies that have been done on different patient populations. And, we have new STEMI guidelines we anticipate probably will be released next year. And so, who knows, maybe it will change. And if it does, then we'll follow the new STEMI guidelines and lower it for our STEMI population as well. But it's just a difference in, what the science and what has been written into the guidelines for stroke versus STEMI.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Good question. Yeah. And then there's a volume criteria that you need to meet for your STEMI patients. You will need an average of 9 per quarter, 9 patients per quarter, and that average just means that if you say you have 12 in one quarter and then you drop to 6 in the next quarter, that will all be taken into consideration. So when the data is annualized, you just will need a 36 or more in order to have a silver or gold level achievement. And then, we do have those hospitals that weren't recognized, say in 2017, or they're new to the program, and we want them to be able to give them a bronze level award if they're able to meet just 1 quarter of the achievement measures. And so they just need 9 in that 1 quarter and meet all the recognition measures to get recognized. Each individual measure needs to be 75% or greater, and then the composite score of 85% or greater. This year we have a really, different situation in that, the registry changes. We weren't anticipating, you were not anticipating, and so we want to make sure that our hospitals that have been recognized previously are able to continue to do so without a disruption or with, the least amount of headache possible. So we are allowing hospitals to, if you get 1 quarter of data in for this year in the new tool and you meet the criteria, we want to be able to, for you to continue at your recognition level. So let's say you were gold or silver last year, we want you to be able to continue at that level just by entering 1 quarter of data. If you want to increase in an award level, so say you were silver for 1 year's worth of meeting the measures and you want to move up to gold, you will want to enter 2 quarters of data in to get with a guideline CAD for this year and meet the criteria to be eligible to move up to gold. So any questions about that? I know it's a little bit confusing, but we are allowing you to continue your award if you just get 1 quarter of data worth in, and if you want to move up, we ask that you enter 2 quarters of data. This and a different year, and I'm sure that it won't continue to be this way, but we wanted to make that allowance for hospitals that want to continue to keep their recognition or move up, and with minimal disruption or minimal data entry requirements. We just are asking that you show that you've continued to perform at those higher recognition levels. Any question about STEMI recognition? Okay, let's move to NSTEMI. So I'm loving the NSTEMI focus and the measures that we have for NSTEMI. The guidelines are newer, and so I think it's, a lot of people feel like, okay, we've got STEMI down, like we're ready to take on a new challenge. And NSTEMI, the NSTEMI program, I think, provides an opportunity for hospitals to really focus on NSTEMI and get their staff educated and their docs educated about the guidelines-based criteria for NSTEMI. We have 5 that we have pulled out that we feel are most important for your NSTEMI patients in terms of, providing better outcomes. So cardiac rehab, referral for your NSTEMI patients. Then we have the ACE and ARB for the LV, folks that have LVs less than 40%. And then dual antiplatelet therapy, which is a really challenging one. It's one that I just came from the TCT conference in Denver, and there's so much interest in the dual antiplatelet therapy, and so many of the docs are really interested in what the guidelines are telling us and what they need to be ordering in order to be in compliance. So this is one that's very difficult for hospitals right now because it's new, but we feel really essential for that patient to have a good outcome. So this one, because it is so challenging right now, and you have a lot of different docs in your hospital, aside from cardiologists taking care of these patients that may not be as familiar with the guidelines, this one is, we've set the bar at 65%. And then, and for STEMI, all the other ones are 85% instead of 75% in STEMI. So 85% on the other four, 65% for the DAPT, the dual antiplatelet therapy measure. And then, excuse me, and then we also have the LV that you evaluated the systolic function, and that it was, done during that patient's admission or is planned for after discharge. And then we have the percentage of NSTEMI patients that smoke that got smoking cessation counseling at discharge.
Can I ask one thing about the? Excuse me. Can I ask one thing about the EF? Is it okay if they document? Say that they had an echo done in the doctor's or in the doctor's office or a previous admission. Is there, like we did with heart failure, as long as it's documented in the record, the last EF, would that be used, or do they have to have a new one? Because that's going to be a learning curve. Because so many people, we've educated people for heart failure that they need to have it documented, whether it didn't matter how long ago, as long as there's an EF documented in the record, they didn't have to have a new one.
Right. I believe that's the case, but I need to double check that one.
Yeah, so many of these patients come back. They may have been in the hospital a week ago, and they did the echo then or the cath, and now they're back a week later. Yeah, it doesn't make sense that they have to redo it again.
Exactly. It's an unnecessary expense. I am almost certain there's an allowance for that, but I need to take a look at the
And I have another question on the cardiac rehab. I know that the guideline says that they have to have a cardiac rehab referral and note prior to discharge.
Right.
And so I know this is a problem for us. Some of these that come in on a Friday and are discharged on a Sunday. So our cardiac rehab department calls them, Monday and talks to them about cardiac rehab and tries to sign them up and all that kind of stuff. But right now that's still a no, and they fall out on that because it's supposed to be done prior to discharge.
So you will want to look for it. Do you have in your order set upon discharge that patient go to cardiac rehab? And so
Phase 2, yes, that's on our orders.
That's what you need is that the physician is ordering it, and that kind of triggers that follow-up phone call from your cardiac rehab department. So that's acceptable. That's fine.
Okay.
And I will say that the only that cardiac rehab is the other really challenging measure, and I will say that the only hospitals I've seen meet that measure are the ones that really have that just written right in the order set, so it automatically happens for every patient that it gets discussed. Hey, somebody's going to be calling you and following up on Monday or, next week to talk to you about cardiac rehab, that is just in that automatic order set. The physician can't go any further in the
right,
discharge
it's in our orders. But the way it is now for the STEMIs is that they're counting that as not counting because it didn't happen prior to them being discharged.
So we do not have cardiac rehab in our STEMI recognition measures for Mission Lifeline.
I guess
so
that's
what you're referring
CDR.
to,
yeah,
that's NCDR, and they're kind of their rules of.
But for this one,
really,
you're saying that so long as they get at least a phone call, you know, when they're discharged, we give them the address, the phone number of our cardiac rehab, and tell them that they should get a phone call. But if they can't, they can call us, and then cardiac rehab then follows up with them by phone.
Yep, that's a referral, and that's you know, they're getting the information before they leave. Your doc is checking the box that he wants this patient or she wants this patient to go to cardiac rehab, and the intent is there to you know, to get that patient in. So they're getting the information, and that's fine. That's you know, that's what you have to do when they're coming in on the weekend, and that's fine.
Yeah, good. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Any other? The volume is the same for NSTEMI. Actually, you need to have an average of 9 STEMI records per quarter. Must have at least 9 NSTEMI records in a quarter to receive like bronze. Same rules apply if you were an NSTEMI award winner this last year and you want to maintain your status, get 1 quarter of data in where you're able to meet the criteria. And if you want to move up, enter 2 quarters of data. We run all of your 2017 data in the spring for recognition. And what's really nice about the new tool is that you can run this anytime you want. You know, in the old system, we waited for those Mission Lifeline reports to drop, those static reports to drop, and it was, you know, a long time, sometimes after the quarter. Now, as soon as you got those patients in, you can enter or you can run these recognition measures, and you can see exactly how you're performing and whether you're falling in or out and which records you need to look at to make sure that, you know, they don't require any edits. So maybe we can focus on that on a subsequent call, you know, like how to run those reports, or if you want to start doing that now, reach out to your director or myself, and we can help you get going on that.
So you said that the 2017 data reports are going to be available in spring of 2018. Is that what you said?
No, that's when we run your recognition, your eligibility for awards is in the spring. So after you've entered all of your 2017 data, we could actually do it on January 1st. But I just know after the like you will know on January 1st if you if you're going to meet the criteria or not, because as soon as your patients are entered, you can run those reports. But we'll have like the official awards criteria. You know, your data will all be run after the end of the year. So we typically say in the spring we're able to start letting hospitals know about.
Are the reports available now?
They are.
Okay.
Yeah, you can, if you're entering patients in, you can run a report as soon as you enter the patient, like 30 seconds, 5 seconds after you enter your patient, you can run this recognition, all the criteria that we just talked about. You can run your report and know, you know, if you're falling in or out of each of the measures. Once you get started on the registry, your regional director will send you, you know, sometimes you get busy and you're not thinking about it, and so we want you to have those reports. We will run those for you and send those to you every quarter. But you can run them anytime you want. You know, if you want to be looking at it more frequently, if you want to use the data in more real time, what's nice about this tool is that you can run anything you want and take it into your meetings so that you're not creating separate reports, you know, for your cardiology meetings and such.
This is Jennifer from South. I have a question about when is the data deadline to enter these quarters in if we want to qualify for spring? Like, is there an actual date set for when the data needs to be entered and completed by?
Yeah, so we're because we if you're involved in a regional report, let me say this. If you're involved in a regional report where you have some hospitals in your area all entering data and you want to run the data at the same time and look at, all the hospitals at the same time, it's whatever deadline the region comes up with, so it's flexible in that way. If a region says we want real-time data, we want the deadline to be 1 month after hospital discharge, then that's what you would follow. But right now we're just kind of loosely following the NCDR data deadline. But honestly, with this tool, because we can run the reports as soon as the patients are entered, like we're not following a hard deadline. Like if you, so let's say, Jennifer, if you enter a patient right now and for July, or if you enter somebody in for February, there's not that hard data deadline. That patient will still be included in that quarter's data. So unlike NCDR, you know how you enter your patient and then you submit it to see whether the patient, you get like a red light, green light, yellow light. But all of that is done in real time as you're entering the patient. So for those of you that have started entering patients, you'll see, your errors as soon as you enter the information. They start to pop up. If you have an error, it'll pop up on your screen. You correct it right then while you've got the chart open. There's not like I have to submit this data and then it's going to come back to me and it needs to be fixed. You know instantly whether, it's the patient's, there's something that needs to be edited. So it's different in that way.
But Lonnie,
so no hard deadline.
For recognition, in order to be recognized, we have to have it in the beginning of March?
No, just one. So were you recognized in 2017?
No.
Okay. So you could receive a bronze recognition level if you get 1 quarter's worth of data in 2017, and it doesn't matter which quarter. It's up to you. You could qualify for a bronze level award. If you enter 2 quarters of data in 2017, you could qualify for a silver level award. And that the silver level award is for this year only, because the tool only became available in I think April or May. So it doesn't matter which quarter, just any 1 quarter within this year where you would meet the criteria, the volume criteria and the measure criteria, and you could become a bronze level award winner.
And Lonnie, it's Steph. So, but the data has to be in the system in order to be analyzed. We're asking for that by the end of February.
Oh, sorry.
So 2017 data. After that, once we run the file, we only have one opportunity to run the file and then have everyone recognized. So if data is entered in April, then we've passed that window and we wouldn't be able to recognize the hospital.
Right.
This is Darlene from Conroe. Since we I know Kingwood and I just signed up yesterday, and we do participate in Action. We were told that we could upload our data from Action into this tool. Will we be contacted by somebody to help us get that accomplished? Now that we've just signed up, so we don't even know how to get into the tool. We've not really, gotten like an orientation, I guess.
You'll receive.
This is Allison, so I will be your person to contact you.
Oh, good! Yay! Hello.
Hello. That is wonderful news. I'm so glad to hear you guys signed up.
Yes.
You will get an email from me and from Quintiles, and I'll work with you guys on how to get that historic data uploaded from Action Registry to Quintiles. There's a specific criteria we can give you to get that done.
Okay,
so,
great.
Like we can get something like in the next week or two?
Yes, I can actually email you over the coding instructions for that. and it's something that you'll probably want to work with your IT department on because it does require you to get some specific coding of certain data.
Okay.
Is that right, Lonnie? Did I say that right?
Yeah. So we have the instructions that we can send over to you already, and we are doing this as a one-time batch upload. So because you signed up, when you did, and actually I think anybody that signs up by, I need to check and make sure, but that we're offering that free one-time batch upload of your historical NCDR data. So it can all be, just moved over. What you do is you put it in a specific file, like Allison was saying. Your IT department might need to help you to be able to do that, and then you send that to Quintiles, which is the data platform, and they will upload it for you into the Guideline CAD. So one-time batch upload for free of your historical data to make it easier for you to make that transition.
All righty. Thank you.
You're welcome. So I want to make sure that we cover the receiving hospital information. There was somebody on the line who is in the referring hospital situation.
I got that information and I've looked at it, so I pretty well understand that all because we've been doing it anyway. So
good.
I got it.
Okay, perfect. All right, we won't go over the criteria one by one, but please let us know if you have any questions about any of the criteria. So any other comments, questions? Anything that you want us to cover on the next quality exchange?
We'll probably have to just kind of work our way through this, and as we go, we could probably jot down some questions that come up for our next call, because I can't think of anything right off the top of my head what to ask. This is Sybil at Kingwood.
Yeah, just send us a note. You can send it to Allison, or you can send it to me directly. Either way, and welcome any suggestions, anything that will be helpful to you.
Okay.
Larissa, do you become our contact person? I know that I've been dealing with the Dallas office, Takia. So, or is it still Takia for me if I have questions on?
Which hospital were you with again?
Texas Health Arlington.
It would still be Takia.
Okay.
Yeah, and we can pass your information along to her to make sure that she knows to round back.
She knows. I've talked to her a couple of times. I just wanted to make sure it was still her. So
it's still her.
Okay.
Yeah. And Allison, you're ours, right? In Conroe and Kingwood.
Yes, ma'am. I have Conroe and Kingwood. Those fall under the Houston Gulf Coast territory.
Okay.
So all things get with the guidelines. I'm your girl.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Anything else before we close out? Thank you for starting your morning with us. We appreciate all of you, and please feel free to reach out if you need help with anything or if you think of any additional questions. Thanks so much, everybody.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate the info.
Thank you.
Great.
All right, talk to you next time. Bye-bye.
Okay,
bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you